let's talk about trees, good trees and other trees. The original title was Good Trees and Bad Trees, but I think there are no bad trees. So, yeah, which to choose and which to avoid for slackline in January. That's my presentation. Um, I'm Matthias from Berlin, Germany. I'm a professional arborist. Uh, yeah, I work a lot of times with dangerous trees, not stable trees. Um, yeah, I like it, and yeah, that's my job. And I want to tell you some things about it, and maybe you can learn something. Maybe not, we will see. Yeah, I'm more a professional climber than a professional about the stability of trees. So that's why I show you some methods. Um, yeah, how the professionals find out how the tree is safe or unsafe in the urban areas like cities, for example. Yeah, this is the first one. That's the visual tree assessment. In this situation, people go around trees, look at them, try to find dead branches, broken roots, cracks in the soil, mushrooms, anything that can be dangerous for people. Sometimes it's also the wind dangerous because like of the shape of the tree. And yeah, this is one method. Um, that's the easiest one. And from this, people go to deeper ones. Here in Berlin, we go mostly to the histograph. In this situation, people use a machine with a long nail and pull it in the tree, and you can see if the nail goes to the good wood, there's a different decade, and if the wood has a worse quality because of mushrooms or like holes in the wood because of animals or whatever, then you can see that the nail goes like easier in and then later goes again to the stronger wood, and you can see this on this level that you pointing this long nail. This is not bad for the tree. It's like so small that the tree feel nothing from it, almost nothing, and that's like a quick and easy method. But it's only on this point that you measure, so that's not super accurate because tree is huge and can have weak points in different places. The second one is the stress wave tomography. In this situation, you put a lot of nails around the tree. They're connected with cables like microphones, and then you hammer on each nail, and the computer is measuring the wood quality because the sound changed in the wood, and then you can see like if the wood is there wood inside or is the mushroom destroyed wood. Yeah, and this is relatively good, but yeah, also in this measure method there are some problems, or people can make it's easy to make mistakes. That's the biggest problem in this method. The machines are quite expensive, and you have really to learn to use them and to understand what you measure. The next one is like super complex and not often used. It's the pulling test. So people install a cable, a winch, and a load cell, and they're pulling on a tree. Not really strong. Like they want not destroy the tree, so they want only pull a little bit. And on the base of the tree, of the trunk, is an installed measurement that can measure the compression in the wood and also the stretch of the wood. And if you measure like 100 trees or like 1,000 of trees at the same type, you have like a database which tree is like good and which one is bad. And if you make it really long and you have really a lot of experience in it, you can have here in this situation really good datas. But it's like expensive, takes a lot of time and also place. Yeah, that's how the professional do this. In cities, trees in cities are mostly checked by tree workers because of the safety that we want to have if we are living under trees. So mostly it's the visual thing that we test or if we check trees, and all the other methods they will use if it's needed or you have some points that you think it's needed. So and generally, if you use trees in the cities, they should be safe for slackline and should be under it or whatever. Um, but there are some trees that I say they are not safe for slackline because they are not made for slackline. Like it's possible to replant trees, to take them away, to take them from the tree school to the park or whatever. And it's also possible to make it like really huge. And these trees, to move the trees, you have to destroy the roots, and the roots, the root ball is not really big, not like a nature grow tree on the place that nobody cut the roots. So if we go in this tree and we make a long line really high in a canopy, then it's really possible to move the tree and destroy the fresh roots that goes in the new ground. And I think it's good to avoid these trees, but it's difficult to know which tree is like planted big in the park or which one is grown up in the park. So I don't know how to check it. Like I know some trees in Berlin who was like yeah planted there, but yeah I know the people. I asked them. They told me something. So maybe you can use do the same. I don't know. That's like up to you. And the next one, there are habitat trees. Habitat trees are really important for animals, for mushrooms, for insects, for actually for everything. Because like also for bats, yeah. And these trees, we let them standing. That's also mostly my job to, if someone say the tree is not anymore safe to have a big canopy, so I go there and yeah, it's all more or less to kill the tree slowly, but not take it away, because dead wood is something really important and also something good, and we cannot take every dead wood out. And yeah, so these trees, it's better not to use because like they're really destroyed. Nobody knows really how strong are the roots now. That's why we cut it so strong, and yeah, and that's the point. Yeah, don't use them. If you see trees, they have no branches, no leaves anymore, or they're fresh cutted, or they have not this normal crown shape. Yeah, take another one. Um, Now we came to trees in nature because they are never checked. And trees they are not checked, it's more likely to find, yeah, to find problems because there are more mushrooms, more broken wood, they have storms, and if you go there, you don't know how strong is the ground, the roots, so it's like more, you have to be more careful in this situation. In this situation, you have to know something about roots. Roots are growing. Trees are generally lazy. They do only this what they have to do to not fail in the storm. And if a tree is standing in a forest, for example, he is like, he's lazy because he trusts the other trees that he is never getting the full wind. If you have a tree on a field that's open for every storm, that's producing a lot of stronger wood system, and it will survive everything. But if you have like this tree in a forest and you take 100 trees away and you let one standing, this one will not survive the next storm. And the same as in a city. If you're in a city, or like not city, like also in the rocks or something, if a tree has never seen wind, then he's never producing roots that are holding him in the storm. And if you go there and rig a highline on it, like a freestyle highline, then it's not used to the stress, and the roots are not made for it, and then it can really likely fail in this situation. So you have really to look at the tree, think about it, what it hold already in his life, and then if you see no mushrooms, no broken stuff, looks more or less really healthy, then you can trust it more comparison to a tree that is like, yeah, it's like not it's standing in the wind shadow and it's small and looks sick, and you cannot imagine how the roots are connected to the rocks. Yeah, this, yeah. Also, like there are millions of mushrooms, but like one good example is the honey marsh. This is a mushroom that grows really big in forests, also in parks and cities, and it's going to a lot of trees. It's using the root system of water from the trees, so it's going from tree to tree, and it can really destroy the roots of the tree. And the tree looks still healthy, but the roots are destroyed. And in cities, they know about this. They're checking the trees with those methods that I talked about before. But yeah, in a forest, in nature environment, it's really difficult to say something about it. Like here, that's not a tree; it's a palm. Palm is grass, but you can see perfectly this palm looks really. It's green. It's green like the other one. It's huge, but the roots was rotted, and the tree failed when one guy was walking on the slackline, and it almost killed him. So this brings us to the next point. Vitality say nothing about the stability about the tree. Like, think about it. If you have construction wood is super strong, and you will trust it if you use it for a highline anchor. That's cool. And the same can be with a tree. A tree can be dead, but the wood can be in really good shape, and the roots can be good. They can be really good connected to the ground. They can be not rotted, and the tree is dead, and it will hold you, and will work out for highline, for slackline. And close to it, you can have a green tree that have like mushrooms in the roots, and it can fail. So vitality say nothing about stability. That's the point that you have to be thinking about every time if you're rigging on trees, especially on highlines, that it's really difficult to say, is it good or not? We have this tree, for example. Here's like it's really sandy ground, and so the ground goes away with the water and the rain and all the stuff. And now you can see the root system, but it's getting so slow that the tree produces his root system so good that it's quite strong, and I think I will trust it. Like this one, for example, this is a really huge one, really stable. I think it's totally good for using for highlines because of his size and his age. Yeah. And the next point is if you use trees for midline, like this. This is really high up in the tree, and in this situation you produce a problem that's also kind of dangerous because you have like on the side that you're pulling pressure in the wood, and on the other side you have tension. And the pressure side and the tension side can crack if in the bounce or in the leash fall. And you will not see it, and you will not hear it, and you will not feel it. But the wood is destroyed at this point, and it can fail later, next day, next week, next pulling, next leash fall. You never know. In this situation, the only thing that you can do is like if you use a tree like this with this high anchor, you can use it once, maybe pull on it or make bounce on it, and maybe you will survive. And then you came back a half year later, 1 year later, and then the cracks in the wood can recover. But yeah, we talk about, we call it the primary fail. It's like the tree cracks, and not primary, I forgot. Secondary. Yeah, like we have this crack inside, and then it can be there, and you can't see it. It can be also before from the storm happened, and then you go there highlining, and the tree can break in the middle. So that's like the problem in nature environments. Nobody knows what was happened with the tree. Nobody knows the history. So yeah, my advice is use generally bigger and older trees because they are more safe of his weight, and the root system that the tree produced or built in his life, and yeah, and make the anchors at the base because the tree is on the base the strongest, and if you go higher you have more option, you have more pressure on the roots, more pressure on the stem, and yeah, so that's you're losing a lot of safety range. To the older trees, for example, like if a tree is getting older, he has mostly, we talk about a safety ratio of 300% comparing to a young tree in a storm. If it's healthy and has no other problems. And yeah, 300% is quite a lot of in the city. And if we are cutting trees mostly if they are under 140 or 150%. So if the safety ratio goes under 150, we cut it. Yeah. How I rig trees, how I rig on trees. I'm using mostly A-frames if I have to go up in a tree, and I always make backups. I always go to multiple trees, not only one, and my main anchors are always on the base on a huge tree, on the hugest tree that I can find. And yeah, and I think that's a good way to go because if you make the hang frame method, you're also not putting too much strength on the stem in jumping, bouncing, whatever. Yeah. So that's the end of my presentation. Please always use TreePro. And if you have more questions, you can ask me on Instagram on KM Slackliners. That's K for Kasha and M for Matze. And if you are interested in my work, there are more pictures on Arborist Berlin. Thank you.